Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Glencoe. Now today I'm right at the bottom of the glen and you'll see behind me this fantastic loch called Loch Achtriochtan, or Achtriochtan if you're going to pronounce it that way. It's a beautiful loch, and when you get really flat, calm sort of weather, you get this lovely reflection of the glen itself. It's just a wonderful shot, really nice. But today, because I know this area very well, I'm on the hunt for something new. I want to go and find something new today. So I'm going to test myself, and what we're going to do is me and Fern, we're going to circumnavigate Loch Achtriochtan and try and find some new locations. There's some trees at the back there which might have some potential. So I'm going to try and search for some new locations. So come and join me while we circumnavigate Loch Achtriochtan of Glencoe. So Loch Achtriochtan is quite a prominent feature in the bottom of the glen, and it's a really nice accessible location. You can just park your car up here and then you can just cross the bridge and you can see Elliot's cottage and Elliot's downfall, or the Tears of Glencoe. I did a video a couple of years ago about that. I'll pop the link up the top there so you can have a look at that. But then as you come down to the front of the loch, you get this beautiful vista, and it's such a lovely location. But what I'm going to try and do is, I've spotted a few trees on the right hand side here, and I know there's a couple of nice locations, and the River Coe kind of flows into it. So I'm hoping to head up round that corner maybe, get with the River Coe, and that might give me a nice leading line. And then we're going to face west, so hopefully we're going to get a little bit of sunset coming here as well. So hopefully with this dappled light, I've got some broken cloud, and there's some beautiful light on the Achtriochtan right now. If I can get that light with the sunset and a few colours, and the loch with a leading line of the River Coe, it's going to be fantastic. That's a shot in my head, so I'm going to head on round and hopefully we'll find a few new locations on the way. So I've just walked around a little bit to the loch. I'm just kind of behind Elliot's cottage now, and there is a gate here, so I'm going to head on through the gate. I'm just going to watch the dog. It's lambing season coming up, so I've got to be a bit careful because there is sheep about, but they're up the hill a little bit, so I'm just going to keep the lead close by. This is such a beautiful location, and actually if you come over a little bit, it's quite nice just to have a look at this spot. I quite like Achtriochtan, and sometimes you can just sit here with a packed lunch and just stare at it, and just makes you feel so inferior and sort of minute when you see this massive rock with the Achtriochtan and the Achtriochtan here. So it's good to put you kind of in perspective, really. Okay, I'm going to carry on round through the gate, and then we're going to head up and see if we can get something from them trees over there. So if you come a bit further around, you it's beautiful Boulder Field. Whether there's a photo here, I'm not sure, but it's just impressive. I mean, look at the size of this one I'm standing on. This must be the size of a van. So can you imagine this falling down? I'd love to have seen it coming down, obviously not in the way. But yeah, this is a great little field of little boulders, all come off the Alnwick Dew over the years. So I've made it to the trees, and I quite like to get over. It's like a little island in the middle of the loch here. It's not too deep, but it looks like a bit of a bogfest. So I'm not going to go straight there, but I can see a little sort of peninsula just sticking out around the back. It's a bit of a trek, but I might come round and then come back over to it and get on that little island. I think that might be of some interest actually. So yeah, let's head on round and let's see if that works. I can kind of see the trees, they're just over there, but I can't get across this boggy river here. This is bits of the River Coe. It's like lots of little sort of inlets coming in all the way around, and then there's no real obvious way to get across. So I've gone in with my wellies, I've got my wellies on, and it's gone right up to nearly the top of the wellies. So I'm not sure how I'm going to get across there, maybe waders, but yeah, I might have to find an alternative photo, I think. Yes. Well, that was the definition of sketchy. It really was. It was right up there, and then once you got sucked in, it was like your legs were going, and I couldn't quite make it. Anyway, we've made it across. A bit dicey, but I'm on the island with the trees, and I'm actually really loving it. There's some real good potential here. This little clump, and if I can pick one out that's very dominant with the rest going back, this might be the shot. I'm actually really excited, and it was well worth crossing that little burn. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wander around here, pick a tree that's going to work for me, and yeah, this might be the shot for sunset, I think. Right, well, my turn now, I think. What have we got? Some very squashed carrot cake. Oh well, it'll do. So, I've walked around these trees for what feels like an eternity, and my initial excitement has waned very quickly. I'm really struggling here. It's just not working. My trees are lovely, but when I get a good tree that looks nice, it's overlapped by a load of other ones, and it's not in its own space within the photograph. And then when I do get one isolated, I just don't feel the composition is really grabbing me. Now the danger is I end up crowbarring a shot into this, and if this sun is going to set lovely and I'm going to get all these lovely pink clouds, and then the foreground is pretty average, then I'm going to be kicking myself. And this is times like this where give yourself plenty of time for sunset, and then that at least allows you to change your composition if it's just not working. So I'm going to give this one up as a bad lot, and I'm going to move a bit further around the loch and see if we get a better comp further on round. Right, okay, I've come a bit further. I've crossed the river. This is the River Coe. It's funny, this little section here, the Coe, very much splits out a little bit, so it's quite easy to get across because there's a few tributaries coming into Loch Achtriochtan. So it's not too bad. I probably wouldn't have crossed that if it was full flood. But yeah, with the wellies on, it's actually not too bad at all. And I've found a decent composition, which might work for me. I've got this tributary of the River Coe coming into the loch itself. And then I've got the trees a bit further away. And then that little sort of gully where I was standing on that boulder, and that's kind of leading the eye up to the mountain, which is a lovely snow-capped mountain called Achtriochtan Bay Mountain. So that might actually work as a composition. With the sun coming around a bit further as well, it might get some nice colour on it as well. So this one might be a little bit of a better shot. So, and it gets the trees back in it still, so I'm delighted because I want them trees. I won't sleep tonight if I don't get these picking trees in it. So I think this might work. So let me go and see if there's a good composition here and see what we get. Okay, I've come out a little bit further in the loch. It's quite shallow here, so you can actually get a good way out in the loch without getting your feet too wet. And I think there's a composition that's going to work here. I've gone and put on the 24-70 lens, so a little bit more zoomed in. I'm at about 50mm here. Just zooming in a little bit. The temptation with Glencoe is to wang on the big wide angle all the time, but actually this telephoto actually is going to work for us. And let me talk you through the composition. So here's the camera here, and as I come around I'll just show you in front, and what I've got is I've got all the trees here, and those lovely trees which I really liked, and I was really wanting to get in the shot because this is the reason I came up to this end of the loch. And then I've got this little gully, and you can see all these little boulders here, one of the big ones I stood on a bit earlier on, and then there's a little gully that goes up, and then you get the top of the mountain, Achtriochtan Bay Mountain there, which is quite nice. There's a bit of snow on the top of it as well, so that's looking really nice. I'm a bit concerned as I come around. I do have this bank of cloud, the dreaded bank of cloud is coming in a little bit, but it is brightening up a little bit there. Look, there's a bit of blue sky up there, so that's okay. So when that comes back, I'm probably going to get some nice light on this little shot. And the good thing is the sun is really at a nice oblique angle here. And I've still got another hour or so, and it's going to come a bit further around to my right. So that might illuminate Achtriochtan Bay Mountain here with a nice sunset. So if I get some golden light on here, this shot could actually work. So I'm quite excited about it. Cool, okay, I'll wait for the sun a little bit. When it comes round, I'm going to press the shutter. And if this shot works, here's the shot. Okay, well that weren't too bad a shot, was it, considering I do like the composition and maybe a bit better light, it actually might work quite well. Now what I've done also is I've just popped the drone up as well while I was waiting for the light, and I got some really nice compositions up in the sky a little bit, and I think what I'm going to use is the River Coe as it comes into Loch Achtriochtan. It's actually quite nice, but because you're just low down, you're not getting that elevation, you don't see that leading line of the river, and it's just beautiful because it just snakes around quite well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the drone back up, and let's try a couple of shots with the drone up, maybe looking both ways, just to get that sort of leading line of the River Coe coming into either the loch or looking up the way. So let's go and get that drone up, let's see what happens. Okay, I've got the drone in the air now, and I've lined up a really nice shot, and I'm going to talk you through the composition of this one. So basically I've had to back off to the loch a little bit, so it's hanging over the loch, and what that's allowed me is to get the River Coe, which is lovely, all these little tributaries coming up, and then it goes into one river, and then it snakes around and does all this lovely bendy stuff further on up the glen. And then what I've got is I've got the Annick Eager on the left hand side and the Annick Dew on the right, and I've got these lovely splashes of colour as it comes through, which is really nice. Not too much, just little hints of colour in the landscape, which is really what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm just hovering now. Hopefully it's a bit cold, so the batteries are not going to last too much longer, but I'm hopefully hovering now, and I've got a bit of light coming through in a minute, so I can just see it coming through. So I'm going to wait a bit longer, but if this shot works, here's the shot. Yeah, so that weren't too bad a shot, was it? Admittedly, a bit more light, some nice colours would have been nice. But the good thing is if you get a fail, sometimes it's just good to get a location and kind of a wrecker mission for the next time when that light is going to come. So yeah, I quite like this location. So I'm probably going to come back here and get another couple of shots when the light's a little bit better. Now, if you like this content, do me a favour and stop what you're doing. Pop on down to the bottom of the page and give me a thumbs up. That would be most appreciative. And if you really like what I'm doing, then get onto the subscribe. Click on that subscribe button, and if you click on the bell, you'll get a notification every time I post. I'm posting about every 2 weeks at the minute, so that's pretty good. Good to see you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Whoa. Bug, bug, bug. Reverse, Karl, reverse. Hey.